Welcome to Flights, the podcast where we uncork the secrets to running a successful destination wedding and group travel business. Each episode, we will explore the good, bad, and ugly of destination weddings while sipping on the finest wines from our pantries.
As your hosts, we believe in savoring the journey with a glass of wine in hand. Join us, Mario Lopez and Ashley Morris of Destination Wedding University, as we explore all of the adventures and misadventures that we experience in this crazy industry.
Okay, so hello everybody. Welcome to Flights Season 2, Episode 2, I think we are.
Sounds right.
Yeah, full disclosure, we're recording this. I am coming fresh off a 10-day vacation, so I am still kind of getting back into work mode. Mario and I did get to spend 2 days together, though, as part of that vacation, and we had every intention of recording some episodes when we were there in person together, but then, well, this podcast is about wine and traveling, and I think we lived up to our name during those.
And then we happened.
Nothing was done. I will, spoiler alert, we did no work, but we had a fun time.
I think we did, as far as I know.
You think we did?
From what I've been told, we had a good time.
It was a good time. I don't know if Matt will go anywhere with us again, but
we have to share that photo. We have to share that photo with this.
Matt just asleep in the car. He got mad the next day. He's like, I can't believe you posted that. It looks like I'm passed out. And I was like, well, I think people know that you were just tired. He was like, no, everyone thinks I drank all the wine and I was passed out. So we'll have to share the picture. My husband was thoroughly bored with Mario and I talking in the car, and also maybe a little tired, also maybe a little hungover, and he just crashed out in the back of the car, and we got a good picture of it.
Absolutely.
Fun times. No one is safe hanging out with us. It will be documented in some way. Okay.
So, speaking of proper decorum.
Perfect segue. Speaking of how to act like a professional, let's talk about FAMs.
So today we want to talk about fam trips, kind of what kind of fam trips are out there, proper etiquette while you're on a fam trip, tips and tricks, things that you can do, and just ways to get the most out of that experience.
Yes, because FAMs are so important. I've been asked many times over the 10 years I've been in travel, new agents or, agents just gathering that experience, like where should they invest their money? Where should they invest their time? And when they ask that question, they're usually thinking about like, what CRM should I use? Or what tools should I buy? Or what should I do? And my answer is always travel, because there is nothing better to spend your money on than travel if you are trying to sell travel for a living. All of that experience, good, bad, and ugly, is so helpful when you're talking to clients.
It's the networking that you get to do while you're on these things is so important. Just getting the face-to-face with these departments so that when you do have an issue come up, or even when you're just trying to plan, some of these weddings, you have that connection that you can reach out and say, hey, so-and-so, that's, remember me, I was on Fam, blah, blah, blah. I have this group coming. This is what's going on. This is invaluable to be able to do that.
It's so important. And not even just the connections at the hotels are critical. That's obviously why we're going, but just going through the travel experience. You can take every webinar that exists. You can go through every supplier training, every tourism board training. You can do it all. You could be like A+ in, Zoom trainings, but nothing will replace being at the Cancun airport and going through immigration and seeing how it works, or taking a little small commuter flight to Belize, because that's what your clients will have to do. Like just living through the experience and seeing what works and what doesn't. That's why people come to us as experts. And if you are a travel agent who does not travel, I'm going to make a bold statement because that's what we do here. But if you are a travel agent that doesn't travel, I worry about your longevity in the industry. It's just something that's so important.
Absolutely. It's something you said there, just going through the Cancun airport. We just had just a couple weeks ago, a group that was traveling, and you see the signage everywhere still for the form that you have to fill out in Mexico. You don't have to fill it out, but they never took down the signs.
Yeah.
And so to be able to speak immediately without having to go Google the answer, try and find something, just to say, no, I was just there last week. You do not have to fill out the form, breeze on through, and continue on with your day. Don't let that stress you. To be able to answer that in the moment would be something that you would really only know if you have traveled recently to the destination.
And you'd be so much more confident, because even if you did quickly try to post somewhere and ask a question or Google it, you don't have the confidence that you have when you've done it yourself.
Yep.
And we get so many amazing opportunities, for FAMs in the industry, whether you're part of a host and they do a FAM, whether it comes from a tourism board or like a hotel supplier, or if you belong to like a specialist group, like what we do with the playbook. Being able to go on FAMs is a huge opportunity. And we're going to talk about the different kinds of FAMs, how you get invited to them. If you're not invited to those types of FAMs, we have some other outlets for people who run FAMs and can help you. When we were making our notes, I don't know why I didn't even think about that till now, but we need to add that to our notes too, is how to get into FAMs if you're not invited, via the traditional avenues. And then we're going to talk about, because we always have to be controversial, some FAM behavior, things that are good to do, things that are not great to do.
I got
Basically,
my eye on some of you agents.
Don't be that girl or that guy. Just don't be the one that we're telling stories about 6 months later. Like, you don't. We'll get there. Okay, so types of FAMs
Absolutely.
you can be invited to.
So there's a couple different FAMs a couple different approaches to FAMs. So you can obviously, like, if there's a tourism board, they often will do FAMs where they're going to take you to the location, check out a couple of different properties, things like that. There's going to be like specialty FAMs. So FAMs that maybe have a theme to them or a focus that we want to make sure that we're paying attention to. I know there's one that's coming up that's going to be for people who are traveling with special needs. And so
Oh,
it's,
that's a
yeah,
cool FAM.
right. Yeah. So it's the group of agents is going and they're going to be checking out some of the properties and how they're, I can't think of the word, but how they make sure that they're
Accommodate.
accommodating. Thank you. All
I
of
was
it.
like, I'm just trying to get inside your head for a second. I think
Yeah.
that's what you mean. Yeah.
Again, the fog in my head today is just insane. And then there's going to be self-led ones. So you don't have to necessarily wait for, to get invited to a FAM. If you want to put together a FAM yourself, get a couple agents together. Let's talk about that a little bit.
You know what we didn't do? We didn't talk about what a FAM is. Like, just in case there's anyone brand new, that's a problem in travel sometimes, that there's all this lingo and all these acronyms, and we don't do a good job sometimes of slowing down and explaining what it is. So a FAM is short for familiarization trip. And it is something that happens in the industry to get you oriented to a destination or a property or a type of travel. So when we say FAM, that's what we mean, familiarization trips. And to our significant others and family and friends that see all these beautiful pictures, they probably look like boondoggles. They're like, oh, that's when you get that. It must be nice. It must be nice to go here and go there and
Working in
to
Cancun.
be on vacation all the time. Like, but in reality, FAMs are competitive. They're hard to get into depending on the type. They are a lot of work, and you have to prepare as a professional and then be professional once you are there, because you are working. It is not a vacation. It is not, just living it up. And there is a big difference in the type of agent that takes FAMs very seriously and treats them as the professional opportunity that they are. Or, let's be real, there's a lot of agents that are just in this business for the free trips. And you can tell, and the hotels can tell, and the tour operators can tell, like, they know who's serious and who's not.
And it's a
So
good way to not
maybe,
get invited back.
oh yeah, ever. Oh, and guess what? All those BDMs talk too. So if you act like an asshole on one FAM, that BDM is probably going to tell, their BDM friends, or they're going to move around to different properties and change jobs. This industry is very fluid. You're going to build a reputation pretty quickly.
I just pictured like a BDM like secret meeting.
It
Like
probably is. Like a secret handshake where they talk
yeah.
about all of us, or not so secret, because sometimes it just happens. Okay,
Again,
so
acronyms, just since we're tossing acronyms in there.
yeah.
BDM, business development manager. And if you don't know who your BDM is for a certain property or a certain chain, make sure you get to know them.
Yes, your BDM is like your point of contact. Actually, that would be a good podcast topic too, what your BDMs are for and what they are not for. How to build that relationship with your BDM in the right way, the types of questions and problems you can bring to them versus the types of questions and problems you should not bring to your BDM, because that's not their job. That's probably a whole different topic, but we should write that down.
Yeah, we can spend a whole day on that.
All right. But anyway, we got distracted. Types of FAMs. Okay. So you kind of touched on this a little bit, but let's dive into those.
Yep.
tourism board fams are really popular. That is where like the Jamaica Tourism Board or, Antigua Barbuda Tourism Board, like these different destinations will, part of their job is to make relationships with advisors and identify who has good potential to sell their destination.
Mhm.
And so a tourism board fam is generally pretty nuts because you are going to see a destination,
Mhm.
which may mean that you see 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 resorts while you're there. You're going to hit them all. It's very fast paced. They're trying to give you the sampler platter of the whole island or the whole destination. And so those can be pretty intense.
Sampler platter, you just made me hungry.
I was thinking about lunch too.
Yeah.
I didn't like pre-order my DoorDash before we started doing that. I should have. But sampler platter, yes. So like I'm just going to use Jamaica as an example, but Jamaica Tourism Board, they are responsible for bringing, like their job description is to bring people to that island.
Mhm.
And part of that is making connections with travel advisors so we know how to qualify people for Jamaica. What time of year is the best time to go there? What hotels are at different price points and for different types of travelers. Like their job is to make sure we are the most educated about that destination that we can be. And so those are pretty intense fams because they're going to bring in a lot of agents. You're usually going to be on a bus going around and you might see like 5, 6, 7, 8 resorts a day,
Mhm.
depending on the destination and how big it is. Have you been on one of those yet?
I've never been on a tourism one
Oh
yet.
man, you're in for a treat.
So
Like,
but that's a good question. Leads into how do you get invited to a tourism board, fam?
so register with the tourism board. They
Mhm.
all have like a sign up, register, login, to get more information, get on their email list. Find those there are BDMs for tourism boards or representatives of tourism boards is probably a better label.
Mhm.
They all have, Facebook and social media. They will go to events. So if you're going to an event where they have like the speed dating type situation where you meet all the vendors, there's almost always tourism board people thrown into that mix and just build relationships with those reps because when they do have FAMs, which is usually a few times a year, you want to be on that email list and you want to be one of the people that they think of. Those types of FAMs usually book very fast. So if a representative publishes, hey, we're going to have this FAM, you have to sign up. If you have any interest, sign up
Mhm.
because they are going to book very fast because it's not a niche type of travel situation. Lots of people are going to be eligible for that and lots of people are going to want to go to that. And so it's very, very competitive and
Yep.
they go spots on those fams go very fast. Um, Typically with those types of fams, you're responsible for your air. Actually, typically with most fams, you're responsible for your air. And if you are lucky enough to be invited, you will want to accept or decline very quickly because there is probably a whole wait list of people behind you that could have the opportunity to go if you're not able to. So don't drag it out. Yes or no, like very fast. I've had fams where I've been called and they're like, I need to know in an hour. Like my Kenya fam happened that way, literally
Yeah.
to go to Kenya. I like got the invite, texted Matt, hey, I can go to Kenya and Tanzania. He was like, why would you not? I'm like, okay, yes. Like literally that. But that's how it happens sometimes. You just have to be really flexible because if you don't take that spot, someone else will.
I like how I like Matt's approach to all those things. It's hilarious.
Yes.
That's
He's used to it by now. He knows.
what size groups are those tourism board fams usually?
It depends, but they're usually on the bigger side, like as relative comparison to other fams, they're
Mhm.
usually bigger. But it just depends on the destination. Those tourism boards will have budgets, like they have a budget that they're operating with, and they know how many fams they can do in a year. They usually will do them at times. Actually, all fams are usually going to be at a time of lower guest occupancy,
Mhm.
because they have to have a place to house all of us and feed all of us. They're not going to do that when a resort's at 100% occupancy. So for those types of fams where you're being invited, like a tourism board fam or a hotel fam or a tour operator fam, mentally prepare yourself that you're going to be going at a non-peak time, which for Mexico and the Caribbean is usually in the summer because that's when occupancy is low and that's when they can fill us all in.
Bring sweatable clothes.
Very, very. Don't like I have like fam clothes, like
Yeah.
literally, and they're like Amazon dresses, comfortable shoes. Like it's gonna be stuff that you sweat through, stuff that like looks professional, but you don't care a ton about because you're probably gonna ruin it after a few trips.
So actually, since we're touching on that, let's talk a little bit about what to bring on a fam.
Well, do you want to do that now, or do you want to hit the other types of FAMs really quick?
All right, let's do the other types.
So, you could tell we don't rehearse this, people. This is all really happening. Well, because the others are quick. So the other types of FAMs are like tour operator or hotel chain sponsored FAMs, like the brand is inviting you. Those are usually a little bit smaller and happen a little bit more frequently and are probably just focused on a few hotels. Like if you're going on a FAM for just AIC, for example, you're
Mhm.
obviously only going to see AIC properties. So that's going to be a little more low key. You're not going to be in a bus driving around seeing 10 hotels a day the way that you would for a tourism board fan.
Well, an AIC would
Um,
be an interesting one just because they're a little bit more spread out. I think the one
yeah,
that cracks me up is whenever I go on, used to be AMR, now Playa Hyatt.
Hyatt inclusive.
Yeah, it's the high inclusive fams crack me up because it's like it's nonstop. They have so many properties that are so close to each other that you do end up hitting a large number of properties in a day.
And you've got to be organized, which we're going to talk about at the end. Like, how do you keep all this content straight? Like, how do you remember who is what and what is what? Like, it's a lot on a big hotel fam like that.
Absolutely.
Um, and then the last two types of FAMs. So there's like the specialty FAMs. You touched on this, like maybe it's a FAM just about destination weddings.
Mhm.
And, maybe it's a FAM even to just one resort that does destination weddings. And
Mhm.
you usually get invited to those or have the opportunity for those if you're part of some kind of group or organization. So obviously, Destination Wedding University in the playbook, we've had FAM opportunities where it's just us and it's all people who focus on destination weddings. But there are other specialty things too. Like you just talked about the accessible travel one, like special
Mhm.
needs. I think that's amazing.
Mhm.
There's adventure type fams. So like what I did in Kenya and Tanzania, that was more of like an adventure safari type fam. There's just different ways that you can be included in those if you're part of different organizations. And then the tour operator FAMs are usually based on production. So you have to sell enough with that tour operator to even be considered. So
Mhm.
sometimes I see newer agents post in like Facebook groups and things like that, and they're saying, "Why don't I ever get invited to FAMs?" And I feel for them because it's kind of a catch 22 situation. Like you're new, you're not going to get invited to some of those FAMs because you don't sell enough. But how can you sell enough if you don't know the destination? So it is hard.
We go
Um,
so it's part of that confidence. It's
yeah,
if you're able to be there. I mean, how many times do you go on a fam and you're posting content while you're there, and then you have a inquiry for that location?
the biggest, if I'm ever feeling like in a slump sales wise, the best thing I can do is travel because as soon as I leave my house and start posting and go to the airport, people start asking. It is the biggest and best way to like get your sales going. Or just tell people you're going on vacation, and then that never fails either. People will be lining up as soon as you say I'm unavailable.
Yeah.
Um, But, that last problem is real. And I remember when I was starting out, it's like I didn't know how to be part of FAMs, but I didn't have the sales numbers to get invited to some of these. And so that's where something like a group like ours can really help, or something like just to pick on one example, Mexico fam trips, Lori and Daniel, their Mexico fam trips or Caribbean fam trips, they are creating kind of immersive experiences that people can just sign up for and pay a fee and go. It's not based on sales volume, it's not based on experience. And that's a really, really nice way to start building your expertise to go on fams like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so now we've done all the types. Now we can talk about how to prepare and what to wear and what to bring and what to do.
So when packing for a fam, it's different than packing for vacation or
100%.
it's yeah, you have to be very strategic about the things that you bring, and you're bringing a lot more things that are going to help you share content or help you get around a resort, or it's different. So what are some of your favorite things to bring on a fam?
Oh gosh. Well, I already mentioned my fam clothes. I can pack for a fam in like 30 minutes.
Yeah,
Like literally there's a
I've
section
done
in
it.
my closet that are like fam outfits, because it needs to be professional. This
Mhm.
is not the time for your half shirts and booty shorts. Like this is, you are not on vacation. You are representing yourself. You're representing your agency. You're representing the brand that chose for you to be there or the tour operator that chose for you to be there. So you need to look nice. And that is one. I'm not judging, I'm observing. There are some people that have not gotten that memo. I have been on FAMs where the group leader has told someone to change.
Hmm. So
And,
fun.
and it's because you're representing that hotel or that brand or that tourism board, and you need to look nice. So for women, it's like nice sundresses, breathable, nice, don't have a lot of wrinkles, like easy travel kind of clothes. There's nothing wrong with tennis shoes as long as they're comfortable, just make it because you're going to be on your feet a lot. So comfortable shoes are always important. And then for men, I've seen you wear very nice, like button down short sleeve shirts and shorts. Like you can look professional and still wear something a little more casual. Does that make sense? Or is that
I
like, did I
feel
just
like
contradict myself?
no, no, no. It absolutely makes sense. It's it kind of business casual is
Yeah.
kind of is that sweet spot. I think this is one example where guys actually have it harder than girls. That's girls when you guys are
It's easy.
packing for a fam, you maxi dresses and things like that, just something elegant but breathable. It's easier. Guys, it's a challenge for us to pack for a fam. That's you have to have yeah, I usually like to, I'm like to be a little bit more formal. So that's,
Hmm.
when I'm packing for dinners, I have jackets that I bring.
Yeah.
When we're out on, doing the tours and things like that, it needs to be a polo, something with a collar, but something, button down that can breathe a little bit, not heavy cotton. I feel like it's more of a challenge for guys to pack for a fam.
Yeah. Well, I would say it's more of a challenge for guys with a sense of style. If I'm thinking about like, I'm going to use my husband as an example. Matt is very happy in a dry fit polo and, like Columbia type shorts or Columbia type pants. Like he could wear that every day. It's not the most like fashion forward choice, but it's breathable and comfortable. I just got my husband out of cargo shorts like last year, and it was like the biggest achievement of my life. So I'm very proud of that. But I do think it's harder for guys because also your shoes take up more space. You're changing more. But then I don't know, like when I pack, it's a day dress and a dinner dress for
Mhm,
every day of the trip.
mhm.
3 pairs of shoes. That's all I bring.
Yep.
You need to be nimble on some of these fams. You might be changing hotels every couple of nights. You may only stay
Mhm.
like 1 or 2 nights in each place. It's not the time to have 6 suitcases of all of your favorite things because you need to be ready to like go, go, go and learn. You're there to learn.
Now, some of the other things that you might not think of, like obviously clothes, yes, but I like to bring like bug spray on
Yeah.
fan. Like it's something you're constantly going. They usually have
Sunscreen.
events set up for you that's that are out on the beach, things like that. You want to have something like that, sunscreen. That's just you're out in the sun a lot touring these properties. You
Hmm.
want to make sure that you're not showing up day two like a lobster.
Yeah.
That's um
Sunscreen, bug spray for women, hair thing. Like my hair is always, you will never see my hair looking like this on a fam. Like
yeah.
I can tell where I've been by what my hair looks like in pictures because I usually look like a drowned rat and it's on the top of my head. Sunglasses. I mean, some of the like things you expect, but then maybe some of the more unexpected things. For the love of God, bring a phone battery pack, like a
Yes.
backup battery.
Oh,
Because
yes.
especially if you're in one of these fams where you're touring 6 hotels, you may leave the hotel at 7:30 in the morning and not get back until dinner or after dinner.
Mhm.
So everything that you need to have with you during the day, backup battery, a charger, for women, some kind of like small bag that can contain all the stuff, but not so heavy that you feel burdened by it all
Yeah.
day. I've
But
seen a lot
some
of
sort
like
of
those string backpacks.
yeah, I was just gonna say that either
Yeah.
a crossbody on the front or a string backpack on the back, something light that is gonna hold the things that you need with you. A lot of things you don't think about is like things for capturing content.
Yeah.
Like you need to have a tripod that's like a small portable tripod.
Oh, that I've never seen you use that. Lies. I'm gonna call you out, but I like it. I like that one. Where'd you get it?
It's Amazon, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I always have good intentions of bringing that stuff. Like I have the gimbal, that you can use and tripods and I'm kind of like the path of least resistance person. The easiest thing for me is my phone. That's what I'm going to use. So
Yeah.
I do invest in probably a better phone than I would have if I didn't do this job. Like I have an iPhone 15 Pro with the 3 camera lenses and Samsung makes great phones with amazing cameras. Like investing in a very good phone with amazing photo taking and video taking capability that's going to set you apart because nobody wants to see all your pictures with your like fogged over lens on your like
Mhm.
iPhone 7. Like that's not representing you or your business very well.
Our good friend Glenissa called me out on it last fam I was on. I can't remember what
Of
it
course
was.
she did. I love her.
It's a lav, something
Oh, like a lav mic?
a lav mic, like just something
That's
to
smart.
capture audio better. Because when you're walking around, oftentimes you're outside and there's wind or there's
Yeah.
things going on the resort. If you have a lav mic, it's actually capturing the audio better than your phone would.
Yeah, it's true, especially if you're going to do a lot of like face on camera stuff, which
Mhm.
we have talked about, putting yourself in your brand, being present in your social media and on your website and other things. That's a good ad. And I actually thought about that when we were attempting to do our recording of podcast 2 weeks ago, where we actually did nothing. I was like, oh, we should have lav mics because then we could do the podcast anywhere. Like
Yeah.
we could take this like on our next trip and do it somewhere, which would be good.
Well, Glenessa sent me a
Or she
wonderful one that I should have bought when she sent it to me, so I will go buy it now.
That's perfect. She also has the best like podcast microphone I've ever seen. It's like glittery. Have you seen it?
No.
It's very much her personality. She'll have to show it to you. It looks like a disco ball. It's fantastic.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. So bringing stuff with you. These are things that you may not think about, but I have found helpful. There are like deodorant wipes.
Mm.
If you've ever seen those, I'm a big, like the little packages of wipes. You can just put them in your bag. Hand sanitizer or those like baby wipe type wipes. Those are nice to have in your fam bag. Um, my old team that I was a part of, we always had a snack person, like
Oh,
especially
nice.
if you're in the van driving around seeing a bunch of hotels. Everybody took a day on snacks and we had like a snack bag and it sat in the car.
Hilarious.
I no, it was amazing. Catherine can tell you about it. But that person was responsible for the snacks each day, and you either brought your own snacks or we hoarded them from everyone's room, like their mini bars.
Mhm.
But you do get hungry, and you should not have the expectation that these hotels are going to feed you unless it is part of the agenda where it says breakfast included, lunch included, dinner included. Don't assume that anything is included and be prepared for that.
Well, and on that note, that leads a little bit into self-sufficiency.
Yes.
So no matter where you're going or what you're doing, you need to make sure that you are being as self-sufficient as possible. Have water with you, have Advil with you, have like you said, phone battery chargers with you, things that you're not leaning on other agents necessarily. More so, you're not leaning on the BDMs or
Mhm.
whoever is hosting the tour. You really don't want to be a burden on them. They've got enough to worry about than trying to make sure that so and so has their extra bottle of water that they need.
And their charger or whatever they didn't bring. To put it into context for people who might be newer, FAMs are the hotel or the tourism board's opportunity to like showcase their property to us. They are probably squeezing us in at a really inconvenient time.
Mhm.
When we're seeing rooms, those are rooms that are going either were just occupied by a guest or about to be occupied by a guest. It's they're usually the way hotels are booked now where everything's like 100% occupancy all the time. They're busy and they've got guests on site that they are trying to take care of. They don't have time to take care of us. Like if anything, we're annoying to them sometimes. Like it's a double-edged sword because yes, they know we're going to sell our property, but also we're just they're trouncing around, messing up their space and getting in the way. So you try to be as self-sufficient and nimble as possible to not put any extra burden on anyone.
So talking about us advisors being annoying, that's some of the things that you should not do while you're on some of these tours. And there's a long laundry list, and we can talk about a couple of them. But
Feel like
when we're
this is
talking about
another one where if you're listening versus watching, you didn't see my giant eye roll. Always worth it to watch the video, people.
we witnessed it, and we feel the pain for for the people that are hosting, but it's some of these
Oh,
things I think are really important to touch on. Let's talk just when we're touring. That's when we're taking a look at rooms and things that you shouldn't be doing. These rooms, like you said, there's that 1 hour window where the cleaning crew has just gotten out of there, where they're getting ready to check someone into the room, but they want to show us the room. It's an important category to know. What you should not do is go in and lay on the bed or go in
oh.
and move around snacks, or that's these rooms are prepped and set for guests to come and stay in, and it's an easy way to get the staff really annoyed at you very quick if
Uh-huh.
you run in and jump on the bed.
Yeah. So, the general layout of a site inspection, FAMs are just a bunch of site inspections crammed into each other. And so for site inspections, if you haven't been on one, the general layout is tour of the property, see the public spaces, see the restaurants, see if you're into weddings, the wedding venues, look at the beach. And then, yes, you get the opportunity to see a few rooms. They usually try to do like a high, medium, and low category. So
Mhm.
you can see what the entry level room is, like the lead in, kind of what a medium-ish like ocean view room will be. And then, what that like wow presidential suite or some amazing, thing that's really going to inspire people to book a trip. Like you'll usually see like a low, a medium, and a wow room. You are 100% right. We are there to be invisible. We are
Mhm.
there to be in and out. Like, don't make more work for the person that has to clean that room. Don't I like, in the interest of time, when we go on FAMs, like I have my group of people that I tend to go on FAMs with, we usually have a designated picture taker and a designated note taker. Nobody needs 14 pictures of the same bed. You know what I mean? Like we don't all need to take the same photos. So divide and conquer and share. This is that whole community over competition feeling that we're trying to foster. Like
Mhm.
have one person, if one person's amazing at taking pictures, play to their strengths, let them take all the pictures. If one person's great at asking questions and talking to the person who's leading the tour, let them do that and then let someone take notes. Like everyone can have a different role, you all share, and that just saves time because
What
we don't
are
need 57 agents taking the same picture of the same bathtub. You know what I mean?
and taking 20 minutes to get in and out of a room because we're waiting for people to take photos
No.
and get out of my shot. Okay.
Yeah.
The on the note of photos, what are some of the best photo sharing apps that you use? Like I know when I'm teaming up with people,
Mhm.
often I'll use like Google Drive or Photo Circle, although Photo Circle seems to have some downturns to it. What
Don't
else do
love
you
Photo
use?
Circle.
Yeah.
So I use Google Photos, like the albums, not Google Drive, but Google Photos. And what I do is I make an album for every resort,
Mhm.
and I have to do it as soon as possible or I will forget. I'm talking about like if we are in the van, like going
Yeah.
to the next place, I will make the album and drop everything in there because I just need to do it then or it won't happen. And then I'll come home with 1,000 photos I need to organize.
Yep.
So it's easier for me just to stay on top of it. Every resort gets a Google album. And I will even go so far as later on when I'm doing like my Instagram stories or whatever, I have my phone set to automatically download my stories. So anytime I do a story, it drops into my photos. And
Mhm.
then I will even save my stories in that album. Because if I'm like doing a quick post, maybe there's like a tip, like, oh, this is this rooftop. It's only available until 10 p.m. or like whatever little bit of knowledge is. I might remember it when I put it in the story, but I won't remember it later. So I even drop those stories in the albums. And then when I do proposals for clients, like when I'm saying, here's 3 or 4 places I think you should get married at, I
Mhm.
will link to those Google albums. So they get my real unvarnished, you know, Ashley photos, not marketing photos that have been photoshopped to death or at the perfect angle where you don't see any people. Like they can get all that. They can get that from the hotel website or the tour operator. But I also want them to see what stuff really looks like. So I'll link to my Google albums and all my proposals too.
Yep. Absolutely. It's then when we're talking about some of the people that are hosting you on these. So like if your BDM is with you and they're,
Mhm.
they're taking you on a fam trip, I think one of the important things to call out is they're there for the entire group.
Yeah,
And they're there to do their job. Really, like, a good BDM
that
will make
social
you feel like,
hour.
yeah, a good BDM will make you feel like their best friend, but also they're there to sell the property, sell their product.
Mhm.
So try not to monopolize that person's time,
Yeah. I
you
mean,
know?
I think we've all seen, if you've been doing this for a minute, you've gone somewhere and there's been a dinner and there's that one advisor every time that just monopolizes the entire BDM's time.
Mhm.
And the BDM is there, to do their job, which is to showcase the property so we sell more of it.
Mhm.
Period. Like that is their job. And they need to be able to interact with everybody. And I'm more of a closet introvert. Like I am extroverted because I have to be, but my like natural state is actually more introverted. And I've had to really train myself to be the one to like ask questions. I know that will shock you, but it's true. Like I really do have to like sometimes make an effort to be like the person that will ask questions or speak up. And so when I see someone that maybe is a little more quiet or a little more introverted, I always feel for them on a fam, because you've got the one agent that's totally monopolizing the BDM. And then this person who's maybe newer or just a little more introverted, they don't feel comfortable speaking up, or they can't get a word in edgewise with this person.
Mhm.
They're not getting their full fam opportunity. So just be mindful if you are a naturally more outgoing person, or if you know the BDM personally, like just don't monopolize their time, because they have to be there for everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's
It's
a hard business to work in sometimes if you're an introvert. Like there's just so many things where you just have to be kind of more outgoing, and it's hard sometimes.
if your just social battery is not where it needs to be that day,
Right.
it's so hard to get your mindset into it. And like
Yeah.
I struggle with that sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and a good, I do too. And so what I have to remind myself is I'm there for a job. I'm
Yep.
here to do a job. It's not vacation. It's not, a party. I am here to do a job, get my content, make these relationships so I can serve my clients and go home. Like it's not,
So on that note,
I
let's
knew where this was going.
yeah.
I was
This
like,
is
oh,
one
I
of
just
my
queued you right up
favorite
for that.
topics.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the proper way to conduct yourself when you're on a fam, and specifically when it comes to eating and drinking on a fam.
Well, so if you're on a site inspection, you
Mhm.
are there again to silently observe. Oh, you know what we didn't talk about when we talked about clothing? It is a lot of people don't know this. I feel like this was a more old school thing and it's kind of gone by the wayside, but it needs to come back. Is it is very poor form to wear your agency's logo on clothes when you're on a site inspection. You are technically not supposed to do that. And you are absolutely not supposed to solicit clients.
Yep.
So when you are doing these things, you should not be wearing, I know it's different, and some agencies have rules about this, and some FAMs will even give you a code of conduct that like outline this, but it is an old school travel agent etiquette thing that you are not supposed to wear your agency's logo or any kind of clothing that would identify you when you're on a fam. I realize we skipped over that.
You're there
Um,
to learn and to network, but not to sell.
right. And you're not, how would you like it if you were just a guest, if you were just at this hotel on vacation and this group of like 50 loud ass travel agents came trampling in, like you're just, that's why you're supposed to be this like silent observer. You're supposed to blend in. Don't talk to guests, don't talk to clients. Like you're there to look and see. And back to the behavior thing, that is, you know, don't come at it like you're not on vacation. You're there as a professional. I always think like, would my mom and dad approve of what I'm doing right now? I know that's so maybe it's not your mom and dad, but like someone like that in
Yep.
your life, like you're representing yourself, you're representing your business. If you can't hold your liquor, don't drink on a fam.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
period. Don't if you're doing a site inspection, absolutely do not, unless you are invited to, order things at a bar, go to the coffee shop. Like you're not there to consume the property unless you are invited to. That is different. Sometimes they will do that, but you're not this there on your own to explore and eat and drink. Like you're there for a purpose.
I've heard some horror stories of agents arriving to a fam and first site inspection, before the site inspection started, they're belling up to the bar, grabbing a drink. It's not what you're there to do.
If
It's
you no, and if that person were my IC and they were on that fam, they wouldn't be part of my team anymore.
yeah.
No.
It,
Um, no.
well, and then the other, yeah, and then the other part of it you touched on a little bit is, as I mean, these are long days.
Yeah.
And so if you are invited to eat or drink or partake in at any of the restaurants and whatnot, try and keep a little decorum about yourself. That's
Yes.
if you can't hold your liquor, don't keep drinking, throughout the day. That's You're not there to cause a scene. You're again not there to party. You are representing yourself and your brand, and so you need to be very conscious of how you're coming off.
Yeah. And just
To
like how it looks, like how do you want that BDM or that hotel to remember you? Like, do you want them to remember you as like the professional on it, didn't waste our time, didn't ask stupid questions, didn't ask questions they could find on the website, like didn't, like all these things, and also ordered 3 glasses of wine at lunch? Like that's not how you want to be remembered. Like you want to be remembered as the person who is like on it
Mhm.
and represents you and your business well. because these like the industry is very fluid. People are going to move around to different properties. People are going to move around to different tour operators. Your reputation is all you have. And so little slip ups on behavior, it's easy, I get it. Like you're in this beautiful environment, you're at this beautiful resort, you're relaxed, you're amongst friends, you're having a good time, but don't forget that it's work
Yeah,
and you are there doing a job.
absolutely. So then when it comes to a little bit more about that decorum, you are there to learn and you're there to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
Some questions that you probably shouldn't ask are like questions about competitors, or you're there to, you want to know about updates that are happening to the property, you want to know what their wedding packages look like, you want to know how their staff handles certain things, but don't ask about someone else.
Well, it's that old saying, dance with the one who brought you. Like
Yeah.
if you're invited by a hotel to be on a fam, I think it is fine to say, like, who are your competitors, or like, who do you consider to be your biggest competition, or where are most of your visitors coming from? Like, if you're asking in the context of business, that's fine. But I've been on fams where we were like hosted by a hotel, and I've been seated at a table with agents that are just shit talking that hotel in front of the BDM. Like,
Yeah.
it's so unprofessional and it makes all of us look bad.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, we're really going for that explicit rating today on this episode. I just realized I really need to tone it down.
Listen, if we're gonna have it, we're gonna earn it. Okay.
Like, oh, it's just something that like sometimes I just want to like shake people and like, what are you thinking? Like this person invited you, you are a business opportunity to them.
Mhm.
Why would you sit there and just say horrible things about a property or talk about your last trip that was so bad? Or like nobody wants the negativity. One, like just don't, nobody wants to be around that. But two, don't complain about the hotel that's hosting you.
Yeah, no, that's and you do feel like you want to like crawl up in a corner for the BDM or the host or whoever it
Yeah.
is. You just want to be like, they must just be just rolling over. But trying to have a little decorum there when it comes to conversation.
Yeah.
Um,
Don't drink if you can't hold your liquor, or just like drink a reasonable amount. Like I get that alcohol is going to be at these things, but you don't want to be that girl or that guy that
mm-mm,
everyone's talking about,
mm-mm.
the next day. Just like keep it reasonable. There's going to be opportunities to like stay up late and do all the things. And I love those things because that's when you can really like get to know people sometimes in more of like a smaller group setting. But also be mindful that you are also going to be expected to be on that bus at 7:30 the next day or whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
And you need to be professional then too. So just your actions have consequences, I guess.
It's well, and so you kind of brought up a good point there. Yes, these fam trips are for learning the properties or the destinations that you're going to. It's for networking, getting to know your BDMs and the hosts. Also, it is also a great opportunity to meet other agents.
100%.
It's
I've
this
made
is
some of my best friends, not even in the industry, like life friends
yeah,
on fams. Like we've met on fams.
yeah. It's a great time to learn what other agents are doing, how they're growing their business, some of their best practices. That's the time to really pick someone's brain and get to know them as, just how they run their business.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And let's face it, this business can be really isolating sometimes. Like a lot of us work at home, we don't have a lot of like real life social interaction sometimes, which is maybe why we all act like heathens once we get out in public. But, there's no better friend than someone who gets what you do every day. And that person you can like commiserate with and vent to, and like they get it. Like this is a weird industry and not everyone gets it. And so you can make some amazing relationships on fams because they're all people like you. They're in it because, they're there because they love travel. They want to make their business better. They're motivated to be there. Like it's a great way to network with other agents. And you never know where a connection can come from that may lead to like a different opportunity. It's just like I was telling you, I've been invited to fams because I've met people on other fams, like you just build this network of opportunities and it's amazing.
how do we spoke about this before when we were
Yeah.
prepping. So but I want you to cover this a little bit. How do you leave an impression when it comes to fams and your follow-up? And
Oh.
it's what are some of the things that you do that make people remember you?
Well, just to when pre-travel, If you're invited to something, respond quickly. If they ask you to sign something, sign it. If you are supposed to pay something, which a lot of FAMs do have charges, the days of free FAMs are pretty much gone. Like everyone needs to cover their costs. Pay it quickly. Just like don't stick on in a bad way. Don't be a problem before we even travel.
Mm.
And then when we are traveling, especially for site inspections, I usually bring like a small little gift for the hotel person that's doing our tour. And it doesn't have to be extravagant. Like I was telling you that I did some sites on Valentine's Day a couple years ago, and we made like little Valentines,
Mm.
for the hotel people. It's just like a nice way of recognizing that they've got a busy job and they are taking an hour out of their day to parade you around, which they've probably done 10 times that week with other people.
Right.
So standing out in a good way, giving them a little gift, writing a thank you note when you get home, just really being respectful of their time and the fact that they are so, so busy, but they're helping you, I think goes a long way. You would not believe how many people just don't even say thank you. Like they act like the hotel should be like entitled. What's the word I'm looking for? Like the hotel should be like
The
happy to
hotel's
have
lucky
us
to
there.
have them there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yes, they are, but guess who you need to have the relationships with? Those people on the ground, because you can make the most fabulous booking of your life and send amazing, beautiful documents and follow up with your client. But when something happens in destination, those are going to be the people that save your ass. So if you don't have relationships with the people on the ground level, you're not completing the circle. You're not doing everything you can for your clients.
Absolutely. I love that small gift. I actually not something that I thought about.
I mean, really small. Like Trader Joe's has these little like chocolate boxes that are like 3 pieces of chocolate.
Yeah.
Or I've seen people do something like from their state or like from there's an agent I know, she's from New Jersey, like the shore of Jersey, and she brought saltwater taffy because that's where it originated, just like something that ties you to that person. Put your business card in it, a little note, give it to them. People are so excited to get that stuff.
The business card is such an important piece. And actually, I speaking of business cards and FAMs, we didn't talk about this, but this is something that I had learned this year. I'm a big believer in keeping things digital,
Yeah.
it's so I've got my app that I use that has all my contact information in it. You can share it and whatnot, which was a great approach, and it's a nice way to get into their phone. But having a physical business card is still a good idea.
Yeah, for people listening, I'm nodding like furiously.
Yeah.
It's the buy a box of business cards and only use them for FAMs. That's really, or like when you go to events and they do a drawing,
Yeah.
go win your thing to like do that. But physical business cards, especially outside of the US, like we may be very digital here, but not every country is. And so there's a lot of countries that still do really rely on like paper and business
Yeah.
cards and things like that. And it'll stand out. I have these little stuffed alpacas because alpaca ear bags, these little stuffed alpacas, and I give them out on site inspections. And I can't tell you how many other agents have sent me pictures. Hey, I'm at James Plymouth Harris. Here's your alpaca, like sitting up on the wedding planner's desk.
Yep.
Or, like there. Like it's just a nice little way to leave an impression. Your card, maybe a little note. I was on a FAM, where was I? Belize, and someone had an amazing idea that we wrote one thank you note as a group. All the agents put their business card in the envelope and we just handed over one thing at the
Smart.
beginning. So we didn't have to do that awkward shuffle of everyone like digging out their cards and like trading and doing all that. We had it all pre-written. Thank you so much for your time. It was great to meet you. All of our cards are in the envelope, handed it over. Brilliant.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
Again, working together as a team on some of these things is really can be the most efficient way to do this.
Yeah.
Right.
It's you can make some amazing contacts that can lead to some amazing opportunities, but it's all in that spirit of I almost messed it up. It was a competition over community. I had to say community over competition or collaboration. We're all in this together. And FAMs are a great opportunity to make travel agents look amazing. And FAMs are unfortunately also an opportunity to make us all look terrible. And so you just have to decide which side of that fence you want to be on.
Yep. Absolutely. It's one of the things I'm going over my notes here. One of the things I skipped over. So I just kind of want to circle back to it real quick. We're talking about being as efficient as possible on these FAMs and doing the site tours and whatnot. There are two things that can help you get ahead of the curve for making the doing your part to make the site visit as efficient as possible. First of all, if you have mobility challenges, Obviously,
Bye-bye.
that we want everyone to be able to partake in site tours and making sure that they're able to experience the property, but there's ways that you can plan ahead for it. So if you're going to a property and you have mobility challenges, let's make sure that we know, are there elevators or not? Are you going to be able to do the stairs? If not, are there accommodations that you can take ahead of time to make sure that you're able to get around and move with the group?
Same with dietary restrictions. If you have food allergies or if you can't eat something, if a fam, well, the fam's probably going to include meals, but like if a site inspection, has like a planned lunch or dinner, just letting that person know in advance so they're not surprised. Nobody wants to be blindsided by that, least of all you. You're the person with the dietary restriction.
Right.
So just letting people know in advance kind of what your limitations are.
Yep.
I think that's super helpful. Fams are really physical. And it's getting back to your mobility. I think it's a business where our day-to-day can be very sedentary. Like, we're just sitting at a desk, doing work on the phone, having calls, whatever. I was on a trip last year where I saw some people, it was kind of like seeing two paths ahead of me. I saw the people that were kind of like not as mobile, maybe a little broken, maybe having a little bit of struggle. And then I saw some people the exact same age that were running circles around me, someone 20 years younger. And it really opened my eyes to like, if I'm going to stay in this business a long time, site inspections aren't going away. Fams aren't going away. I want to be the person that's like nimble and on it and moving. And I understand that, that's not always possible for everybody, but just trying to work more movement into my like everyday life will only help me be better on a fam because I'm not going to be winded. I'm not going to be struggling. I can run up and down those stairs when they're trying to fit 50 people into an elevator, like it's just, there's things we can do. I understand everybody has their limits and it's a privilege to be healthy. I'm not denying that fact, but it's just something I've noticed that I'm trying to be a little more mindful of my own like movement and activity so I can be better in the future.
I was just at Ishkret Arte like maybe a month ago or so.
Was I with you?
Yes. Yeah.
I was like, were we not there together?
But
glad I left that impression. Didn't get marked, clearly.
We're lucky I remember I was there.
Anyway, continue. You were there.
So but on the note of the elevators, it got to a point where a lot of us started taking the stairs because they were trying to cram like I think at one point we had like 10 people in an elevator.
Probably meant for 8. Yes.
We were like sardines like this. And it was just to be able to be a little bit more nimble is a plus, if you can do it, obviously.
And you're freeing up space for the person who does really need it.
Right.
Like you're just making again, like one
That's
team.
a really good point.
Like being collaborative and supporting each other. If you can take the stairs because you're freeing up the space for someone who really does need it.
Right. Absolutely.
Forget that was only a month ago. That feels like 6 years ago.
I have no idea how long ago it was. I honestly
No, you're right. It was about 5 weeks ago.
I couldn't tell you what month we're in right now. So that's
March. It's almost St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, this is true. It's St. Patrick's Day is not my thing.
It is my thing. Look at me.
Have
you ever seen a more like Irish person in your life? Like it is my thing. I'm very excited about it. I do have to go to some lame Air Force thing on Saturday, but we'll see what we can do about the rest. And I don't get me wrong, I'm like past the age of I'm gonna go be out like all day and everything, but I still try to do something. I think it's fun.
I picked up a corned beef. That's my thing.
that is your participation.
That's my participation. I love me a corned beef.
On behalf of the Irish, we thank you.
Speaking for all the Irish. That's
yes. Oh my God. No, it's fun. We when I lived in Milwaukee, we would go to Chicago when they do like the river dyeing. Well, they did it in Milwaukee too. That was always a fun day.
Yeah, but the Chicago one's cooler.
It is.
I love the Chicago one. That I did get into. I had a fun time with that.
Well, because I think you and I are both the people that get into like the vibe. Like it's more of like the atmosphere. It doesn't matter what holiday it is or whatever anyone's doing. If it's like a Golden Girls convention, I think we would be like, yes, let's do it.
I would kill for a Golden Girls convention. It's
I think you live in one.
I do basically. It's just my daily life. That's it.
Oh my gosh, Florida. Okay.
Um,
Oh, you know what else I'm looking at our notes too, just now that we're in this like grab bag section.
yeah,
Um, a tip I can give to people who may be newer is to don't be frustrated when every single minute of the schedule isn't planned.
yeah,
A lot of
a
times when
really good point.
FAMs are planned, you know, again, we're working around the hotels. We're working around their occupancy, their availability. The guest who is paid to stay there clearly comes first.
Yep.
And so sometimes it is hard. Like we just said, it's March now. If you're committed to going on a FAM in like June, they don't know what the schedule is yet. They
Hmm.
don't know exactly what hotels you're going to see. A lot of this stuff happens at the last minute. And it's not because people are disorganized or it's not because people don't have their stuff together. It's because we are trying to plan around the guest and not disrupting the guest experience. So you're probably not going to have the agenda. And even when you are on the FAM, the agenda can change and it does change frequently. So be flexible, be aware if there's a WhatsApp group or something where people are communicating, pay attention because you don't want to be the person that's constantly like two steps behind, you know, trying to figure it out. Like stay on top of things and expect that there are going to be changes.
Also, kind of on that same note, check your ego at the door. Like it's there's a lot of agents that I feel like at times they give off the energy that you're lucky to have me there. You're lucky that
Yeah.
I bothered to attend this.
Random.
Surprise
At least
appearance.
he popped up and showed his face before announcing himself. Like he did just, I don't even know what that's about. But no, you're right. The ego thing is big. Or I don't know. I think we've all been on a FAM where, you know, you go around the table and like introduce yourself. We're all in this business. We're all successful or we wouldn't be here. The person that just goes on and talks about themselves and how much they sell and how much money they make and how that person's not going to make a lot of friends.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
Jack has opinions on this too, apparently. um, buddy, come on. No, but you're checking your ego at the door. You are there to learn and you
Yep.
are there to make relationships. You are not there to talk about how great you are.
No, on a FAM, we are all equals, and you need to make sure that you're being humble for yourself, but also that you're allowing others the space to ask the questions or to bring up their points and making sure that we're all being collaborative in that experience.
And if you can't be that, make your own FAM, which is the last kind of FAM we can talk about, the self-led FAM. You
Yep.
can do your own FAMs. You don't have to wait for an invite. You don't have to, you know, participate in something. It's a lot easier and a lot more fun if you
Mhm.
do and you make better connections. But self-led FAMs are a thing. To do that, you can reach out to your BDM, you can reach out to the different hotel contacts that you may have and, you know, book a flight and go. It's
Yep.
one of the best things that I've done in my entire travel career is February 2021. So still pretty deep in COVID. Another agent and I just booked a condo in Playa for a month and just stayed there for a month. And we did all self site inspections. We just made the contacts ourselves, you know, reached out, I think we saw 35 resorts in 30 days. It was crazy.
Mhm.
But it was one of the best investments of my time. And I realize that it's extreme. Not everybody can do that, but you can do self FAMs. You just reach out. You have to be flexible and you have to kind of work on their schedule and their terms. But if you don't like going with a group or you don't get anything out of being with a group, you can definitely do your own.
Absolutely. You do not have to wait for, a BDM to put something together or, a property to put something together. It can be something that you do on your own that if you need to focus on a certain section, certain area, go do it.
Mhm.
Get to know the properties.
Yeah.
We actually have two playbookers that are in Mexico right now.
Oh
That's
yeah, I forgot
doing the
they're
same
there.
thing. Yeah. That's just spending a month and they posted today on all the properties that they visited this week.
Mhm.
It's insane. Like their
Yeah, but
schedule,
it's so useful.
yeah, I'm so proud of them. They're like they saw I think everything in the area, which is awesome.
I would pay to watch them.
That's what I told them. And I was with one of them a
I have
month
to see
ago
them.
ish.
Yeah.
And that's what I told her. I was like, I would pay to see this because I just think they just I
It's
I'm
two
they're both
very fun personalities because
yeah.
we know them both. They're two very fun personalities together for a month. There's going to be some shenanigans for sure.
I'm sure they're both very professional on property, but I want the stories like I want the stories off property
I'm
because
going to
I'm
find.
sure it's just hilarious.
Oh, I'm trying to find this post now because I'll look later. But no, it's a good way to do it. And that's, the back to the part about networking and meeting people on FAMs, you can meet like your favorite travel buddy.
Mhm.
And then you could go do your own thing together for the next trip. It's just a great way to make connections with people. And I think it helps us all because everyone wants to feel less alone in
Yeah,
this business. Like travel agents are kind of independent, isolating work sometimes. And so anytime you can make these people connections, then you can take your next great trip together and do
yeah,
something like what they're doing, which is awesome.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So in short, FAM's good. take,
Yes, good.
take
Done.
advantage. FAM's good. Take advantage. Don't be that person that messes it up for everybody.
Don't be that person. I think that's the most important takeaway from this is don't be that person, whatever that means, whether it's food or booze or asking,
Complaining.
monopolizing someone's time, complaining. Don't be that person. It's you are there to learn, you are there to be humble. That's enjoy the experience and make sure you gather all the content and all the networking that you can.
Oh, and sell the property after you're done or sell
That
the
too.
destination. Or if it's not for your client, that's totally fair, but just take something from it.
Yep.
Like that's the reason we're going on these FAMs is to sell the thing, the property, the place, the cruise, whatever it is. So make sure you do that. And because I'm super nerdy, I will tell them when I book something like, hey, thanks again so much for the tour. Just booked a wedding here,
Yep.
or thanks so much for your time. I'm about to send you a contract. Like, let them know that it worked like that, because then it makes everyone feel valued and like
Yep.
that time was worthwhile.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Good deal.
All
Well,
right.
I hope everyone's ready to go on a FAM with us.
We've got a number of them lined up this year. That is for sure. So
So much going on.
absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thanks for joining me. Do we thank each other now?
What's that?
Do we thank each other
We
now?
thank each other now. That's I
That was
felt it was
very like
necessary
Mr.
today.
Rogers of you. All right. Until the next one.
Until the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Running a travel business may have its challenges, but with a dash of humor, the right tools, an amazing community, and a lot of wine, success awaits us all. Raise a glass with us and toast to your remarkable journey.
Don't forget, if you're ready to take the next step in your travel career, one where you can focus on developing your niche, attracting leads, converting them into new clients, and automating your systems, you can build the business of your dreams. If you're ready, join us in the Playbook Inner Circle at jointheplaybook.com. We can't wait to see you inside.